Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. See, when you release the genie is going to do what the genie does, affect you. So we have here the garbage in Ukraine. That was the genie released by NATO against Russia. That's my take on that. And time will tell. But anyway, so the genie was released. The Russians told NATO, which is Al Capone, Al Capone, if you do that, and to the extent, to the intensity that you're doing, we will react, and it's going to be gloves off. The Americans, I'm talking about these guys in charge of us, being as they are, and some ideologues and very arrogant, said, what are you going to do? First, you're not going to dare. Secondly, we're going to you up. That's exactly what I told the Russians with sanctions. We're going to you up with the first round of sanctions. Nothing happened. Okay, with the second one, nothing happened. Third one, until the 12th one that affects Western Europe or Europe in general, but not the Russians. But they're still doing it. So the Russians said, okay, we're going to activate certain things on this planet that we kept under control, and you're going to see how things are. We got some aces for ourselves right here in our sleeves. And this is one of them. This is the de-dollarization. And they're succeeding. The Russians are succeeding in de-dollarizing the world. That is, the monopoly of the printed money of the United States of America will decrease. That means you, if you're a US citizen, and I will start working. That is producing, not massaging and producing services. Services is easy. Whatever services we have, taking care of the dogs and making sure that we look good, we snip things. We look good. No, not those kinds of services. Producing stuff. And how do you produce stuff? By working and then having resources. The United States has the resources. Europe doesn't. So let me show you this article from Sputnik, where the Russians claim that 1 in 3 United Nations countries are opting for de-dollarization. That is 1 in 3. So that's about what? 60? 65. Why 65? Because we have 193 countries, I think, listed at the moment at the United Nations. So 193, about 60 something, 64, let's say. So if you have 64, you got about 192. Now, 60 countries, it's a big step, because you have the petrodollar. How does that work? And not only the petrodollar, but I'm going to show you just make it very simple, how the the petrodollar works. We agreed with the Europeans and everybody else going to follow that you're going to buy the oil in order to produce certain things and to function only in our currency, in US dollar, because they were the world currency. It was good until it was abused. And then in order for you to get my dollars, you're going to sell me something. You're going to give me this, I'm going to give you dollar. And with your dollar, you're going to go and buy oil to produce these things for me. And I'm going to produce some dollar for you like this. Pop, parap, 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 zoop, or how much you want. Clip, 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 clip. Here is your money. So you understand? Now, if you don't have to buy oil with the dollar, you don't need my clip, 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 or zoop, zoop, zoop. So that means you have to, okay, Emil, you want this? Yeah, I want it. Well, I want that. Do you have that? No, I produce only services. Oh, we don't need services. Those kinds of services, we have them too. What do you want? Dollar? No. You know what we're going to give you? We're going to attack you and we're going to fuck you up. And we're going to take it for free. Regime change, bringing democracy and freedom. That's how it works, my friends. So those 63 countries, 64 countries that I'm talking about, let's say 1 in 3, they will make sure that they are protected. It works like in a neighborhood with thugs, with groups, with gangs. They come from for protection. But you have the territories, global, like the United States of America has Europe, has two countries in the Far East, and it has Australia and what's the name? New Zealand. Other than that, they have Palau, New Guinea, Papaluka, Tapaluaka, Vuvuzibabubaba. That's all. The rest of the world, which is about 140 other countries, no, not on your payroll. United States has about 50 countries that controls. That's it. The European Union, the two countries I told you, or if you want to put, but I'm not going to put Taiwan in that, but it's an entity, country. However, I'm not going to get tangled in that. That's their business. But I'm just saying where they can maneuver. South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, Papua New Guinea, Malaysia, Indonesia, not even, okay? In that, Philippines, Philippines, and that's Palau, Palakamaka, and that's it. That's it. Australia, and now, excuse me, Argentina right now, because you got Pimp Milei, who's bending over Argentina for the client. Argentina being now a lady of the night, and the pimp makes sure that he completes a transaction between you, the American investors, or the global interest in your country. With investments, International Monetary Fund is also in Australia, in Argentina. Bravo, that means you're shackled pretty bad. And more to come. Milei is gonna shock you like you've never been shocked before. We'll see if you're gonna be surviving, or if he is going to be surviving. You're gonna have over there big problems, Argentina, within a year, I suspect, because you guys are not gonna like it. You guys are going to rebel, and those guys are gonna come and fuck you up and take over your country temporarily. Do you think I'm gonna let you from their grip? No. Anyway, and they're gonna say they do it because democracy. All right, my friends, one in third countries. Let's see if they give us a little explanation here. De-dollarization is the process of reducing the US dollar's hegemony in global trade and financial operations by shifting to alternative exchange methods such as national currencies and domestic payment systems, as well as transferring currency reserves. A third of UN member states have already opted for de-dollarization and decided to rely on national currencies to conduct payments, Sputnik's analyst has found. The analyst, which looked into statements made by officials from 193 UN countries in international and Russian media, showed that representatives of at least 68, so more than 64, so it's more than 1/3, they say that? 1 in 30, yeah, well, that's average, whatever, we're gonna make it rounded up. 68 UN nations openly supported the process of de-dollarization or stated that they were taking measures to this effect. US cannot allow that to happen. According to the study, the most decisive calls to scrap the greenback and replace it with national currencies came from politicians whose countries are members of major regional organizations, such as the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and BRICS, which originally comprised Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, but was expected to include a host of other nations in January 1st, and they did Saudi Arabia, and I think Egypt, and two more because Argentina withdrew. He was in turn echoed by Kenyan President William Ruto, who urged local leaders to take the first steps towards abandoning the dollar and make transactions through the Pan-African payment system instead. Israel, for instance, earlier announced that it would reduce the dollar's share in the country's foreign exchange reserves in favor of the yuan, the Chinese currency. Some countries are making more targeted efforts to reduce their population's dependence on foreign currencies, including Vietnam, which has banned long-term foreign currency deposits. All right, so de-dollarization, I'm quoting, intensified due to the anti-Russian sanctions. People said, well, you guys can blackmail us whenever you want, kick us around and sanction us, which clearly showed the risk of the national economy's dependence on the US currency. De-dollarization reduces the demand of the greenback and, as a result, contributes to its devaluation. Why devaluation? Because these guys have to work and produce more, or what? We'll find out. This followed Russia's Minister of Integration and Macroeconomics of the Eurasian Economic Commission, Sergei blah blah blah, telling Sputnik that at the potentially limitless range of cooperation between Euro-Asian Economic Union and ASEAN aspires to reach new levels. This is an imperative for us. We can no longer trade in Western currencies. But it takes time for our partners to fully appreciate the benefits and importance of a transition to national currencies. The dollar suffered a 2.7% decline against other major global currencies during 2023, the greenback's worst performing year since the global economic downturn associated with the coronavirus in 2020. So the Russians activated their little things and said, we're going to go to your throat and you're done. What is the United States going to do? Is going to go and try to put pressure, that means threats and blackmail and bribes in the areas where they can still have something to say and potentially intervene militarily. That's what they're going to do. They're not going to go to India. They already know India is on the other side, China or big countries or Brazil. No, they were not going to do that. They will try, but they tried already. How do you know that? You know the US's influence by how many countries imposed sanctions on Russia and how many countries donated money for Ukraine, not for Ukraine, for US effort to destroy Russia in Ukraine. That's how you easily can figure out who's who, what's what, on whose side people are. And it's no more than 50 countries, 53, 55, maybe 60, it comes and goes, depends on how much, if you pay me and you bribe me, that bribe is not forever. It wanes. And then again, I'm not going to do that. And you make a few statements and then the payment comes back. And then you keep quiet for another period, wanes away the money, and again you make a statement until the payments increase in the amount and you are too noisy. And they come and they replace you with another weasel like me, as I was before. So you start over, like for instance in employment. Let's say you work as a bulldozer operator, that's how you call it, or bulldozer, let's say this, and you work for 20 years. After 20 years, your income, your hourly wage reached the maximum. So you're paid, let's say, $30 an hour. I'm just saying, $30 an hour. And you're a bulldozer, bzz, 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 bzz. Very good experience. But you can hire someone, as you were at the beginning, a 21-year-old bulldozer guy who's not as experienced as you, but can get experience like you did, and start over. They're going to fire you with $30 an hour out, and they're going to get the 21-year-old guy that's going to work for $18 an hour. So they got what? $12 extra that they can use in Tahiti, the owners or the presidents of the company, right? An hour. And you're going to work and you're going to gain again. You're going to little by little, but I'm going to use you for less money. So the same with these guys with the bribes in other countries. When they become too mouthy and they start thinking that they have it, they get replaced and they get another hungry mofo that will work for them for less. And then when that guy's ego blows out of proportion, they're going to remove these guys, bring another one. Save money and always control. So they're going to start blackmailing, threatening these countries and bribe them. And if they can create a little spontaneous protest in the country and a coup, just because the nation is not happy with you guys anymore, they will do that. And if that doesn't work, then we'll just realize that you do not respect democracy or something, you violate some rights somewhere, and they want to give you up. Because that's what we do. We make sure that this planet right here is going to be safe for us, for them to plunder. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.